Before the world opens its mouth, before the phone lights up, before the noise begins, before the weight of everything you haven't done yet settles on your chest, there is a moment. Just one quiet moment where you exist without pressure, without judgment, without fear. You felt it this morning, didn't you? That half second between sleep and waking, where nothing was wrong, where your mind was clean, and then, it started. The loop, the list, the low hum of worry that follows you like a shadow you can't shake. What if I told you that the anxiety you feel is not a life sentence? What if I told you it's not even the enemy? What if the real battle, the only battle that has ever mattered, is happening right now, inside of you, in the space between what happens and how you respond? Today, we go inward. Today, we study the ancient Stoic habits that don't just manage anxiety, they dismantle it at the root. Not because the world becomes easier, but because you become harder to break. Before we go deeper, if you're here, you're not like most people. Most people scroll past discomfort. You just stopped and chose to face it. That matters. If this kind of content speaks to you, the kind that challenges your thinking, sharpens your mind, and upgrades who you are on the inside, go ahead and subscribe right now. Hit that like button. And in the comments, drop these 5 words. I am stronger than my fears. Because what you speak, you invite into your reality. Let's build together. Now, let's get into it. The Stoics understood something that most modern self-help books still haven't caught up to. Anxiety is not caused by what is happening around you. It is caused by how you are relating to what is happening around you. It is a war of perception. A battle between the mind that sees threats everywhere and the mind that chooses to see reality as it actually is. Epictetus, a man who began life as an enslaved person and rose to become one of antiquity's most powerful thinkers, taught his students one fundamental truth. Some things are within our control, and some things are not. And nearly every form of human suffering, every anxious thought, every sleepless night, every knot in the stomach, comes from confusing the two. You are suffering over things you were never meant to control, and you are neglecting the one thing you always could, your own mind. So today, we don't talk about habits like journaling routines or breathing apps. We talk about identity level shifts. 5 declarations, ancient, battle-tested, and quietly radical, that, when practiced, do not just calm your anxiety. They change who you are. 1. I control my response, not the outcome. Say that again. Slowly. Really let it land. Most anxious people are running a hidden program in the background. It says, if I worry hard enough, I can prevent bad things from happening. If I replay the conversation enough times, maybe I'll find the version where it didn't hurt. If I plan every possible scenario, maybe I'll feel safe. But that's not control. That's the illusion of control. And it is exhausting. Think about the last time you were anxious. What were you actually trying to do? You were trying to control something that hadn't happened yet, or something that had already happened and couldn't be changed. You were pouring your energy into a space that doesn't exist, the past or the future, while your actual life was sitting right here, untouched. Here's the Stoic reframe. You are not responsible for the outcome. You are responsible for the quality of your effort and the character of your response. That's it. That's the whole job. Marcus Aurelius, who governed the most powerful empire on earth while managing war, plague, and personal grief, wrote privately in his journal that the impediment to action is itself the action. Meaning, the obstacle isn't in the way. The obstacle is the way. What blocks you is what builds you, if you choose to respond rather than react. Reaction is survival. Response is mastery. A reaction is what your nervous system does without your permission. A response is what your character does with intention. Anxiety lives in reaction. Strength lives in response. So when the email comes that sets your pulse racing, pause. When the conversation turns ugly, pause. When the fear climbs your throat and wants you to spiral, pause. In that pause, say it. I control my response, not the outcome. You are not powerless. You are not a leaf in the wind. You are a mind with the capacity to choose. And every time you choose your response over your reaction, you are rewriting who you are at a neurological level. You are not just calming yourself down. You are becoming someone anxiety cannot conquer. 2. I do not borrow pain from tomorrow. Anxiety is almost never about right now. Close your eyes for a moment and notice what you're actually afraid of. It's something that might happen. A worst-case version of a future that doesn't exist yet. A conversation you're dreading. A result you haven't received. A life you're terrified of ending up with. You are living in a future that your mind manufactured. And you are suffering real, physical, emotional pain because of something that is not real. Seneca, one of Rome's sharpest minds, said it with devastating precision. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. He wrote that the person who fears suffering is already suffering what they fear. Think about that. The thing you're dreading hasn't arrived. But the dread is already here, already stealing your sleep, already tightening your chest, already borrowing time from a future that may never come, in the form you imagined. The anxious mind lives in the worst possible version of a future it invented. Most people do this constantly. They walk through their day half present, with half their mind already 2 weeks ahead, stress testing scenarios and preparing for catastrophe. They call it being responsible. They call it being realistic. But Seneca would call it self-inflicted suffering. The Stoic practice is simple, but not easy. Return to what is in front of you. Not the imagined version. Not the feared version. The actual version. What is actually happening right now, in this moment, in this body, in this room? Ask yourself, is there a crisis happening right now, in this exact second? Not tomorrow. Not in theory. Right now. Most of the time the answer is no. Most of the time you are physically safe, and the suffering is entirely mental, entirely constructed. When you catch yourself borrowing tomorrow's pain, say it out loud if you have to. I do not borrow pain from tomorrow. I live in what is real. What is actual. What is now. Every time you do this, you are pulling your energy back from the void. You are reclaiming presence. And presence, actual, grounded, eyes-open presence, is the only place where anxiety cannot survive for long. 3. Discomfort is not danger. Here is one of the most important distinctions your mind can learn to make. And most people never make it. Discomfort feels like danger. Your body doesn't always know the difference. Your nervous system was designed in an era when danger meant teeth and claws and the very real possibility of death. But today, most of the time, what you're calling anxiety is not danger. It's discomfort. It's uncertainty. It's the unfamiliar. And somewhere along the way, you learned to treat them as the same thing. So now, a difficult conversation feels like a threat to your survival. Public speaking feels like facing a predator. Opening an important email feels like stepping onto a battlefield. Your nervous system is not broken. It is doing exactly what it was built to do, but it is being aimed at the wrong targets. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, taught that virtue, strength of character, is the only true good, and virtue, by its very nature, cannot be built in comfort. It is forged in discomfort, chosen discomfort, intentional discomfort. The Stoics actively practiced hardship, cold, hunger, social exposure, not to suffer, but to prove to themselves that they could survive what they feared. Comfort protects your past self. Discomfort builds your future self. Every time you avoid what makes you anxious, you are telling your mind, you were right to be afraid. You are not protecting yourself. You are confirming the fear. Every time you move toward what makes you uncomfortable and discover that you survived, that you are still here, still whole, still capable, you are teaching your mind something new. Discomfort is not the end. It is the beginning. So the next time the anxiety rises, and it will, Don't ask how do I make this stop. Ask, what is this discomfort trying to build in me? Can I stay in it just a little longer? Can I choose it instead of running from it? Discomfort is not danger. Say it until it becomes true. Because the mind that learns to sit in discomfort without flinching, that mind is unshakable. 4. What others think of me is not my territory. Let's talk about the anxiety that lives in other people's eyes. How much of your mental energy, right now, today, is being spent wondering what someone else thinks of you? How you came across in a meeting? Whether they're upset with you? Whether they respect you? Whether you're being talked about, judged, dismissed, compared? This is one of the most invisible and exhausting forms of anxiety because it wears the costume of social awareness. You tell yourself you're just being thoughtful, being considerate. But beneath it, what's actually happening is that you have handed your peace, your internal weather, over to the unpredictable, unknowable, constantly shifting opinions of other human beings. And now you are hostage to something you can never fully control. Epictetus was clear, the opinions of others are not yours to manage. They fall outside the realm of what is up to you. You cannot climb inside another person's mind and rearrange their judgment. You can only be who you are with integrity, and let the rest go. Marcus Aurelius wrote that he wasted years trying to earn the praise of people who didn't even respect themselves. Think about that. You are losing sleep over the judgment of minds you wouldn't trade places with. Weak identity needs approval to survive. Powerful identity needs only integrity. When you operate from a weak identity, every conversation is an audition. Every room is a stage. Every silence in the text thread is a verdict. And you spend enormous energy trying to control the narrative in other people's minds, a narrative you will never fully see and can never fully write. When you operate from a powerful identity, you shift the question. Instead of, what do they think of me, you ask, am I acting in alignment with who I want to be? That is your territory. That is the only scoreboard that matters. Practice reclaiming your territory. When the spiral starts, when you're replaying what you said and cringing, or pre-suffering a judgment that hasn't landed yet, say it. What others think of me is not my territory. My values are. My actions are. My character is. You will be surprised how quickly the anxiety drains when you stop guarding a border you were never supposed to patrol. 5. Today is enough. I am enough. This moment is enough. This one is the deepest and the hardest. Anxiety thrives on insufficiency. The feeling that you are not where you should be. That you haven't done enough, achieved enough, become enough. That the clock is running and you are falling behind an invisible standard set by someone you can't even name. This is the anxiety of a culture that monetizes your restlessness. That profits from your conviction that you are incomplete. That keeps you chasing a version of yourself just out of reach. Just after the next goal, the next milestone, the next validation. And what it steals from you is not ambition. You can be deeply ambitious and still live this declaration. What it steals is presence, joy, the ability to inhabit your own life while you are actually living it. Marcus Aurelius wrote that he reminded himself each morning, you have everything you need to live a good life right now. Not after some future transformation. Not when the conditions are perfect. Right now, in this ordinary moment, with this ordinary life, you have what it takes. The present moment is not a waiting room. It is the destination. What would change in your body right now if you actually believed, not hoped, not theorized, but fully believed that this moment was enough? That you were enough? That the small good you did today had weight? That your quiet effort mattered even without an audience? Most people live their whole lives waiting for a feeling of arrival that never comes, because they've made arrival conditional. When I hit that number, when I get that relationship, when the anxiety finally stops, when I finally feel ready. The Stoics would tell you, this is the trap. And the only way out is to stop negotiating with the present moment. To stop treating now as a problem to be solved and start treating it as the only life you have. Say it like you mean it. Today is enough. I am enough. This moment is enough. Not as resignation, not as giving up, as a radical act of presence, as the most countercultural thing a human being can do in an age designed to make you feel perpetually behind. We're almost at the close, and I want to pause right here. If something in these words has moved something in you, if you felt a shift, even a small one, share this with someone who needs it. Your share might be the moment that changes someone's entire inner world. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And keep building with us, because what we're doing here is not just watching videos. We're building better minds. Let's bring it all together. Because this is not a list. This is a lifestyle. This is an identity. You are not the person who spirals. You are the person who pauses and chooses. You are not the person who borrows tomorrow's pain. You are the person who lives fully in today. You are not the person who confuses discomfort with danger. You are the person who walks toward the hard thing because you know what it's building. You are not the person who loses sleep over other people's opinions. You are the person who operates from character, not approval. And you are not the person who waits to feel worthy. You are the person who declares worth here, now, without conditions. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations for anyone else. He wrote them to himself, alone, in a military tent, ruling an empire, carrying impossible weight. He wrote them as reminders, as declarations, because he knew that the mind, left unguided, will drift toward chaos, and the mind, trained daily, becomes the most powerful force in your life. Your anxiety is not your identity. It is a pattern. Patterns can be interrupted. They can be replaced. They can be rewired by small, deliberate, consistent acts of choosing differently. Not once. Not when it's convenient. Every single day. And it starts the moment you open your eyes and remember who you have decided to be. The Stoics did not teach serenity as a gift you receive. They taught it as a practice you perform, day after day, in the quiet, in the chaos, in the ordinary moments that no one else will ever see. So tonight, when the thoughts come, and they will, you know what to do. You don't fight them. You don't run from them. You simply place your hand over the one thing that has always been yours, your response. Your presence, your character. You are not anxious. You are awake. And an awake mind, a trained, intentional, stoic mind, is not something anxiety can defeat. My mind is mine. My response is mine. Today is mine. Drop that in the comments. Let the world know where you stand. Thank you for being here. Keep going. Keep choosing. Keep becoming.